Alright, welcome back, and yes, I am a little bit late this week. The main reason for me being late is the fact that I accidentally deleted the video that I was supposed to upload, and yeah, I had to basically make a completely new one. And the worst part is, I also deleted the footage that I compiled. So yeah, that's a good description of an epic fail if you ask me, but never mind. A couple of days later and I was able to assemble a completely new video. Now let me show you one of the ships that I was supposed to release in the last video. Did take the Stratios for a little spin, and it was one of the very rare occasions where the battleship was aligned and the battleship was a sniper. We tackled it and I used the Stratios to destroy the Macarial. It was a good catch. It was a very good catch. A 0-kilometer orbit worked wonders. And this is why I just like to fly the Stratios. If you find a battleship like this sniping, you warp cloaked, scout, and then you find the warping, and you can safely engage. Now I had to change the build on the Stratios. I had to use triple webs because I was worried about the Macarial having webs as well. And I learned my lesson with Macarial. If you orbit at 0 from a Macarial, make sure that you have at least 3 webs, because even if they have the long range artillery, they can still track you if you're not careful enough. Afterburner 0-kilometer orbit with webs, and you should be safe. Okay, now let's go to the first target for today. Now, it is funny because, as I mentioned before, I already showed you the Macarial that I lost the footage of. Next target, or the first target for this video, is a Marzio, kind of a buffed Macarial, and it seems to be also a sniping Marzio with long-range artillery cannons, sitting at 100 plus kilometers from the mission. Now, in the case of the Macarial, I had an interceptor tackle. My friend helped, although I didn't really need help, but I wasn't really sure if one scrambler could hold. Now in this case, because I am now completely alone here, going to engage the Marzio completely alone, I kind of set with a balance between webs and scramblers. I still anticipate the Marzio to have webs, but 2 webs should be enough. Now I'm just a little bit worried at the amount of stabs that the Marzio could potentially have. So the Marzio can potentially warp off. 2 scramblers versus a ship like that is usually not enough, but nonetheless I will try. If it holds, it holds. If it doesn't hold, it doesn't hold. Not a big deal. Now I'm waiting for the Marzio to destroy the last ship on the mission, so that I can engage unnoticed, because when the new wave spawns, the Marzio will not be able to see a Stratios nearby, and that's a trick that you can use while engaging ships like this. Obviously I will go to a 0-kilometer orbit, because I don't trust a 6-kilometer orbit versus a Marzio or any Macarial or any turret type battleship. Any projectile turret battleship, they can be scary. Okay, wave 2 out of 3. Time to engage. Let's web and scramble, orbiting at 0. Drones are out. Now for a Marzio, that ship is taking a lot of damage. I actually expected the Marzio to be a little bit more tanky, but seems like my drones are eating through the shield of the Marzio without much of a problem. Now, the moment of truth. Are they going to warp off or not? They are moving. They are moving. They definitely are moving. And it warped. Yeah, that's a lot of stabs. Okay. Well, I tried. Take 1. It failed. Okay. Well, I think we all know by now, if one of my ships fails, I have a bunch of ships that I can choose from to try again. Oh, the Marzio left, that's fine. I will dock and add one more scrambler to the Stratios. Let me quickly dock. And well, I guess I will risk with using only one web. I think one web should still do the job, since I am a cruiser and the Marzio is definitely a battleship. I should still be faster than a Marzio if I orbit at 0. Of course, if the Marzio had autocannons, I would not be using a cruiser. With autocannons, it would probably hit. With artillery cannons, I am willing to try, but autocannons will hit at 0. I know my Makara can do that just fine, and I believe the Marzio can do it just fine as well. Alright. Well, back to 3 scramblers on the Stratios. Okay. 3 scramblers fitted, and the Marzio returned. I took the good old Dominic's Navy, because this time I will just attempt to go with the Dominic's Navy. With the I like the new drone icons. They look kinda scary, not gonna lie. Okay, let me just adjust the range. 6 kilometer. Okay. I believe this ship is overkill for the Marzio. I mean, the Stratios already almost ate through the shield without much of a problem. I believe this thing has a chance of one-shotting the Marzio. We're about to find out anyway. If I manage to land next to it. Wait, that's the wrong ship. Let's go to the Marzio and let's go to 100. Last time they were at 100. They could be closer this time. I don't know. We are warping in blindly like the good old days. After all, no alt on my end, just me with this current account. The way I like to play. Active. I mean, I could use alts easily. I mean, I have an alt, but you know, I don't feel like that's necessary for the most part. If it were a Sansi, I would definitely use an alt, but for Marzio, I don't really think that's completely necessary. I'll just do it the old school way. Okay, moment of truth, and they are closer. Alrighty then. Okay, they are closer. Lovely. Somehow that doesn't surprise me one bit. That's just how my luck is, and the Marzio is moving. Let's see. Yeah, they're definitely attempting to warp out. Well, I'm definitely not a Macariel, and this is definitely not a cruiser I'm flying, so no chance that I'm getting close to the Marzio in a decent time frame with the Dominic's Navy. Okay. Well, I will go and
we're under attack.
I'll just approach. Maybe they do decide to warp back at the same distance. You know, it would be funny if they warp at 100 kilometers now. Although that's also possible. It is a Marzio after all. The Domix, although it's not, I mean, I say this thing is slow, it's not slow. For a battleship it's quite speedy, and they have returned. Now, they are at, oh, wait a second, they're locking me on. Is the Marzio about to make a fatal mistake of actually shooting me? We're about to find out.
We're under
they
attack.
Actually, well, this Marzio just sealed it. Yeah, their fate is sealed. That's
Warp
it.
drive active.
This Marzio is dead. The Marzio is dead. You already know it. The Marzio is dead. That's one thing that you never do. You never shoot a Dominic's Navy first. You do that, you about to lose a ship. I have 5 minutes. I don't have to rush. The Marzio can go anywhere now. They have a criminal timer. Alright, well, let's just drop right on top of it. And that would be 100, that would be 88 kilometers. Yep, that Marzio is dead. That Marzio is dead. I know that Marzio is dead. That's it. are not going to survive this encounter with this ship. They did 13% of damage on my shield. That's just Navy resistance. Navies are just tanky, they're nasty ships. They're very tanky ships. Even though this is not the tankiest Navy, because it's a drone boat, it's still a Navy. Okay, well, a big F for the Marzio. That's a perfect landing, right at 0, and yeah, this Marzio is not going anywhere. Oh, this Marzio ain't going anywhere. And let's launch the beehive. They can go anywhere. They have a criminal timer, so if they warp to the gate, they're toast. If they warp to the station, they're toast. If they stay, they're toast. They're toast. The moment they aggro, they've been toast, pretty much. And yeah, there goes the Marzio. One cycle of bombard was all I needed. Wait a second, did I just get some very rare items there from the loot? I need to... Yeah, that was one of the more rare dampeners. That could be useful, okay. That could be useful, and I don't have a criminal timer, so I could warp. Actually, I can't warp. Obviously, I can't warp. Siege mode active. Let's just turn the siege mode off. Actually, I don't have to warp off. I can just wait the weapon timer and then just dock. Let's just align my ship to the station. 30 seconds left. Okay. Well, that's a good catch. Let's take a look at the Marzio. 7.7 billion, not bad value. Well, they had some very interesting items. Code Cracker, Sensor Dampener, and a Gurista point. I wish that the point dropped, but nonetheless, still rare items. One rare item dropped. I am not going to complain about that. That was a funny encounter though. Yeah, drone boats are nasty, and the bombard just ate that ship alive. That's active. And I also love how I landed right on top of it at 0. Like, that's one of the best warpings I've ever done in the recent days. In the recent time, actually. Well, that was a good food for the Dominics. This ship's appetite is satisfied. Okay. Now, I kind of want to fly a Marzio myself. It's a Black Ops ship. I want to fly one myself. And speaking of rare ships, this is a thing I was waiting for to move. I think I've encountered one of these rare ships. Although this is a prototype battleship, not the the fully fledged battleship, but still, it's very rare. And if you see this thing, you definitely want to have it as a trophy in your log. But I did get the what was the name of it again? The Canyon Logistic Assault. That one is an actual young ship, and it's rare. That thing is very, very rare. I know I have seen very few players fly it. I don't have that ship myself, but I've seen some players fly it. We managed to catch one, so that's one of the most rare ships that you can encounter in the game. There's a lot of rare ships, but these two things that I mentioned are the rarest. Not many fly them, and I think in the future there is going to be more Omega reward ships that are going to be even rarer. So yeah, maybe I'll get to fly them. I mean, I know the test server will be up at one point very soon, and unfortunately someone's can't, and we all get the ping. Now the player who scanned, it's not my friend. It was the neutral in local. It's an enforcer, and they didn't have a very good scanner. Then the enforcer that scanned didn't have a very good scanner. Undocking. We have decent scanners. We don't give ping, but the enforcer, the neutral enforcer in local, did scan. Well, it is RB time. I know I've been saying I need to fly my old RB. I still keep forgetting to bring that thing over here to the station. But eventually I will not forget, and I'll bring this thing in its home place. But yeah, we have a Thorax prototype, and I decided, you know what, I didn't fly an RB in a very long time. Let's just take an RB for a little spin. Why not? Although I feel a little bit sad that we still don't have the actual curse, the actual pilgrim in the game. I feel like those ships are kind of needed. I personally need a pilgrim or a curse in the game, because I wanna find an actual curse in this game. I know I nicknamed the RB core tops the curse and pilgrim, the RB2 was the pilgrim and stuff like that. I know that's just a nickname. They're not the actual curse, but they're just a nickname based on how the hull of the ship looks, and that's how I use that thing. Actually, I basically back in the day I used it like those tier 2, the tech 2 even line ships, but here we are 5 years later and those ships are still not in the game. Maybe I need to press the developers a little bit more on that front. It would be pretty interesting to have those ships in the game. I would listen, if we get a curse or an actual curse or actual pilgrim in the game, that's my main ship, and I would love to fly them.
Attack.
I mean, the RB is one of the most iconic ships for me, so obviously I would fly those two ships. But yeah. Okay, the Thorax has been destroyed, and let's loot and let's warp out. But yeah, if you, or let's not warp out. I got scrambled. Let me just descramble myself, I guess, and let's destroy that ship. But yeah, as I mentioned before, in the old days, like 5 years ago, I called the RB core tops and RB2 the curse and the pilgrim, because that's how I use those ships. I use them with Stratios, with neutralizers, and the overall design of the ship looks like the curse and pilgrim design from EVE Online. That's the only reason why I call them like that. It's still an RB core tops, it's still an RB2 core tops, but I gave them the nickname, and I honestly like that. I like the fact that I gave them those nicknames, because those ships are very important for me. Well, okay, 21 million ISK, Thorax prototype, a cursed one at that. Lovely. Lovely, let's dock. Yeah, let's dock. In the last video I actually caught a bunch of caracals, and I used the RB and I also used the Blackbird. I enjoyed the Blackbird a lot. It's a very interesting ship actually. Docking with timer, good thing to test it out before you do this with a expansive ship. You don't want to do this with an expansive ship. Alright, well, we have a Nihilus compress space, and I have seen something jump in. So let's see what's inside. I'm going in with my Astra. The Astra got a bunch of new stripes lately. This little ship is just I love the Astra. This is my old Astra. I think I don't even have a medium slot on this thing, which is funny. I fly this thing without a medium slot. And there is a Venture 3. Let's just yeet the Venture, because why not? I love to catch ships inside of these nihil space. There is no running away basically. If you get caught here, it's over. You are not. There's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere to warp off. That's what I'm trying to say. And the Venture has been destroyed. Nice. Okay. Let's get the pod. Okay, well, not what I expected. I expected more, but that's fine. Orbiting. Let's just wait out the timer, because you still can't use the gate if you have a criminal or weapon timer in this case. And this is a very cheap Venture, but it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, I would still say fun little catch inside of a Nihilus space. And this is the reason why I also like cloaky ships. I don't trust a non-cloaked ship inside of a space like this. It's just bad news to go inside of space without something that's able to cloak. And let's dock, because you don't get a criminal timer. Technically a null space system. It is classified as a null space system. So you don't get a criminal timer. I can dock immediately. Okay. Well, that was a nice little catch with the Astra.
Warp drive
This little
active.
ship is seeing some action.
Undocking.
Okay, let's go and engage the next target. I think we have... I think the Thorax returns. We're about to find out. Yes, the Thorax returned. Okay, warping at 56. You know, the beauty of smaller
Warp
low tier
drive
ships
active.
is the fact that you usually don't encounter stabs. So you can actually play the game the way it's meant to be played, and you can play the ship the way the ship is meant to be played. One point, and tracking disruptors, I don't have to spam 58,000 scrummers just to hold a ship. This is pretty much classic combat, the way I actually like the game. I miss the old Eve Echoes. I miss the days with no implants. I miss the days with no nanocores. I miss the days where you can just take a ship, build the ship properly and play the ship properly and just do well with it, without having to worry about magic tricks. That's what I miss about this game. You can still get that experience though, don't worry, you can still get that experience, but you have to fly the cheaper ships, the smaller ships, because most of the big ships, yeah, they usually have nanocores and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, the nanocores, you know, I would say the nanocore isn't really as much of a problem as I would say the implants and stabs are. And I got scrambled again. Alright, that's just convenient. Let's just destroy that, the ship that keeps points on me, but first let's also get the pod. Let's get both actually. Okay, let's destroy that one ship and let's get the pod. There we go, and let's warp off. But yeah, as I
Warp
mentioned
drive
before, I
active.
honestly enjoy flying the smaller ships more than I enjoy flying the large ships. Primarily because I don't have to worry about dumb stuff like implants, nanocores, stabs. The game feels like Eve if you play the smaller ships. 19, okay, this time it was cheaper and still a cursed build. Lovely. Okay, well, at least I got some materials for reprocessing. I'll definitely take that. The Venture is back, and this time they
Warp
are
drive
just
active.
sitting on this gate. Okay. You know what that means? We are actually dumb me forgot. This is an Astra. I don't need to decloak. I don't need to decloak. I can just warp to 0 and engage because this is a sister thief ship. There is no lock on delay on this little thing. I forgot about that.
Warp drive active.
I forgot about that. Isn't that just funny? Okay, anyway, let's return. And let's see what happens next. There is the Venture. I don't know why they just sit here on the gate like this. In any case, I'm not complaining. I'm just going to open fire. And just a little snack for Astra. There we go. Let's get the pod, as I mentioned before. A little snack for the Astra. Let's eliminate the pod. Well, I am unable to loot that, so let's just remove the evidence of anything happening here on the gate. There we go. And now let's warp out. Actually, maybe I should check what's inside first. Maybe there is more ships inside. I've seen, you know, I always say this. If you are on a exploration roam and if you also do combat, always try to check inside of these nihil space sites, because you never know when you can encounter an Orca or a Covetor or a Venture 4 or stuff like that. I say this to myself, but I always forget because I always try to focus on the sides. I always try to focus on the other combat ships, but I encountered a lot of these sites on my exploration roams, and I never really checked them. Who knows? You might find a rorqual inside one day. I mean, players do mine inside of these spaces, and a lot of players would feel more safe if they start to do them deep in LowSec. You're actually more likely to encounter a mining ship inside of
Warp
the
drive active.
nickel space in deep LowSec than you are like to find them in the LowSec closer to Empire. But yeah, I definitely recommend that you check those out if you are on a exploration roam. You could potentially find a good target, in some cases expensive target. Well, yeah, 10 million ISK venture, 3 as expected. I mean, I don't really expect much from a venture, so yeah, but nonetheless, a little snack for the Astra is not going to hurt. Okay, now we went on a little ride, and there is a Apocalypse Navy at the other end of the gate, and I am in the Stratios. I thought about using something else, but you know what? I have very good drone skills. I might as well use a drone boat. We are waiting for the Apocalypse to aggro, and then we are going in. This is my ordinary Stratios. I just changed a bunch of my modules to make it more appropriate for nullsec stuff, at least for fleet related nullsec stuff. That's why a scrammer and web might be unnecessary, but have a tracking disruptor and a guidance disruptor. And okay, the Apocalypse Navy did aggro, and it's time to see what we can do about that. Okay. Let me see, where should I go? Where are the icons? Where are the, there's the icons. Okay, let's align. Make a warp grip on, bombs loaded, and open fire. I also changed my modules and I replaced my usual stuff with some long range missiles, and they jumped. Okay, that's fine. Apocalypse Navy jumped through. Well, I guess we will stay here a little bit and see if we catch anything. Although the main problem that I personally have with the Stratios is its speed. If it were just a little bit faster, I wouldn't mind it, but yeah, this is one of the slowest cruisers in the game. And this system has 2 stages. Okay, that might be important. That could potentially be important for the future, and I can just vanish into the night while being cloaked. I love this ship for the fact that it's cloaked. And well, a little spike and a bunch of ships jumped in, and I think there is I think I've seen what was it called again? A versatile assault ship, a Vazago. Now, back in the day, when I used to fly the Revelation, I would drop the Revelation on large fleets. Usually, I would yeet the Revelation at 10, 15 ships, battleships usually, because we always had lower numbers. I mean, small corp and stuff, we can't really find 50 players and just use a big fleet like that. We had to play smart. We still have to play smart. And that's where the dreadnoughts played a huge role. I used to drop the Revelation on 10-15 ships on a gate camp with 10-15 ships, or basically wait for them, and it always went really well because that thing was built. But I don't think that we ever dropped a capital on like 2 ships, 3 ships. Usually we match the ship size, to make it more fun. That's how we roll. And you know my point. What am I doing here? I'm just chilling. You know, I want to see what other ships crawl in, because there's a third one. I think the third one is definitely a Vazago. It smells like a Vazago to me. But yeah, chilling here, waiting to see what's next thing that will pop in, and then I will jump through and end the video for today. But overall, was a pretty fun little run today. I definitely enjoyed the Marzio a lot. That thing is... I need to fly the Marzio. I did try it out a long time ago, but I need to get one of those ships for myself. And I might have to... I think I sold some of... Actually, I have a Balgorn that I need to sell, but no one wants to fly Balgorn anymore, so... that's kind of trap-esque. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Can't really change that, but I will definitely have to
Autopilot
find
engaged.
something that's... and there's the Vazaga. Okay. Well, time for me to dock up, because time for me is a little bit running out, based on my internet and stuff. The connection about to cut anyway, so
Destination reached.
might as well dock the ship to safety for now. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this little run. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe, and with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.